Okay. Hello, everyone. Hope that you guys are all having a great day today. Happy Sunday today. Hey, Drifter Kids. Hey, Tommy. Hey, Polly. Zach, James, Julian. Let me help Brandon, because Brandon invited me first, and then I'll help you after Troy. Brandon, can you invite me to the business? Thank you. Hey, everyone. The USMC is 250 years old. Yep, it is. And you know what? The Marines' first operation, that was the Barbary Wars. Well, their first overseas operation. Yeah, Yakuza Kiwami we'll do in December. It'll be fun when we do it. No, it's 8:19 p.m. where I'm at. I'm Central Time right now. Uh, is daylight savings tonight? Is it tonight, guys? Is the clock being reset tonight? Does that happen tonight? Okay, yeah. A great stream, bro. Just showing off my new red badge. Oh, thank you, Manix, and thank you for being a member of my channel for 3 years. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. I can't believe I missed the Left 4 Dead stream. It's okay, Random Fist. We could do more Left 4 Dead streams. We could do them more in the future. Hey, Robert. Am I gonna play Arc Raiders? That's that new game. What is that about exactly? I saw it on the PlayStation Store, but I don't even know what it is. Honestly, this should be the last daylight savings time. They should just change it, and just keep it like this forever. You know, don't change it anymore after, today. But every single time there's been so many times where they wanted to vote on it to repeal it, and then it never goes through, nothing ever happens. It pisses me off. They should honestly just change it and just keep it forever. Hey, Lucio. Have I heard about the TGG and Dark Viper beef? I heard a little bit about it. I don't know what's going on. I'm not getting involved in that. I stay away from drama, so I just stay away from that stuff. Thank you for being a member of my channel for almost 4 years. Thank you, Vostok Films, for sponsoring my channel. Thank you, dude. What borough are you from in New York City? Brooklyn. Thank you, DJN Zone. Thank you for the super chat. Daylight savings time was yesterday. Was it? Were the clocks already changed? Now I'm confused. I created a party for Criminal Mastermind to join. Okay, Kirsten. Don't know if we'll be doing that today, though. This is the original heist? Arc Raiders is extraction shooter similar to Escape from Tarkov. Oh, is it anything like DMZ? I want to thank you for giving me a chance to play with you on Friday, and adding me on Steam. No problem, Shiny Knight. It was fun playing together. Am I gonna miss the Halloween weather? A little bit, yeah. Final part of Mafia 3 will be tomorrow. It changed at 2 a.m. automatically. So wait, did daylight savings time already happen? It already happened or not? I'm confused right now. Now I'm lost. Last night at 2 a.m. So it happened last night. Okay, well I must have not seen it then when it happened then. Oh, okay. I thought it was happening today. Okay, then. Yeah, I'm stupid then. Bro, it's my birthday in 2 days. Happy early birthday, Mr. Hopkins. Everyone wish Mr. Hopkins happy birthday there. Favorite song on Head Radio? I've done a Head Radio mix. Let me. I'll tell you what my favorite song is, DJ. Hold on a second. Let me tell you. Hold on, cause I don't even know the name of it. I have to look it up. Hold on. Okay, my favorite Head Radio song is, hold on, is it this one? I think it might be Drive. Is it Drive? Let's see. Yeah, I think it's Drive. Drive, that's the, 15 Ways Drive. That's the one. Lisa Job has 3, missions with 2 players. Hey, Mr. Professional. Can I do another worst to best on DLCs when mansions come? I could try Fixated. Could you do a video maybe on the YouTube bots? I heard a little bit about that. What's going on exactly with that? I heard they're posting, like, links. Did you agree with Salvatore having JD whacked? I can understand why Salvatore did not trust JD, but I think that, having him whacked, I think is too much. I think it's too much making him a made man, but Salvatore should have probably just given him some money and told him to leave town. That probably would have been the better solution. There's that new policy is going to restrict violence and torture in video games on November 17th. What do you think about that? Oh, that's going to suck. I don't know why YouTube, like, rolls out these policies, stuff like this. Like I said, Salvatore should have probably made JD leave town. What system do I play on? On GTA Online right now, we're playing on PS5. If you're wondering what I'm playing Liberty City Stories on, it's an emulator. Oh, everyone's in a black screen. Okay. What's your opinion on the World Series outcome? I don't know really much about sports. I don't watch it. Yeah, I could help you, Fixated. How do I join you? You'd have to have me added. Do I have you added, Vostok? YouTube say think about the children in media soft. Thank you, Cube, for the, thank you, Cube, for the super chat, but YouTube's policies, it's getting stupider and stupider. What's your PSN, Vostok? Do I like Spanish music? I generally like any kind of music. Hello, Professional. I've been largely, lately heavenly watching your channel, and lately on old cosplay, though, and previous playthroughs. Thank you, JTM. Thank you for the super chat, dude. I appreciate it. Why not play a talk radio? They're not copyrighted. I could play those too, on some of the playthroughs. What cosplay did you do? I always do World War II loadouts. Wait, cosplay for what? What are you talking about, Vostok? Hey, Skull. Imagine if Elon Musk owns YouTube. Well, if he got the chance, he'd probably buy it. Not to be creepy, but how do you have 1,000 hours on GTA 4? On what? You mean on Steam? On PC? I used to play GTA 4 a lot, and I had, I did lore videos a lot in the past. Hey, GB. Mickey, the smartest hitman in all of GTA. Take me back to my apartment. Yeah. Do you think if the Cold War went hot, it would have been the deadliest conflict in history? Yeah. That would have been bad. What's the best vehicle to fight Oppressor Mark II Reefers? Probably the Toreador. No, well, I don't think so, Dead Edgar. When is Halo coming out? The remake? Is there a recent story about this gunner? Favorite cartoon as a kid? Probably Courage the Cowardly Dog. Thank you, Dixon, for the super chat. I'm gonna help Troy next, Toxic. I'm level 755 right now. Do you think going to 1,000 is worth it? No. GTA 6 is half a year away. If Ma Cipriani was born after these feminists, she would have been a real gangster. Yeah, that was, that's Tony Soprano's line in, The Sopranos. I remember that one. Are you gonna Driver Parallel Lines Reservoir Dogs? I want to get to a lot of these games before... yeah, I want to get to a lot of these games before, GTA 6 comes out. And also, guys, if you guys are wondering what game we're doing next, right? Because Mafia 3, the final part of Mafia 3 is tomorrow, and Ghost of Yote is almost done too. So the final part, well, the next game we're going to be doing is Black Ops 2. So we're going to be doing Black Ops 2 and Liberty City Stories. Can somebody tell me in the comments what do I do to in Black Ops 2? What choice do I have to do to keep Menendez in prison? Like, if I want to keep Menendez from escaping from prison, like, what do I have to do in Black Ops 2? And then, like, what do I have to do to stop the riots from happening? Because, like, I know Menendez triggers like a bunch of riots. Like, how do you stop the riots and keep him in prison? Like, what choice do I have to specifically do for that? But yeah, we'll be doing Black Ops 2 next. I know I don't have to shoot Menendez, but I think there's something else I have to do. Let Chloe live and spare Menendez. Okay. To stop the riots, don't kill him, capture him. Okay. I have to kill Harper in the mission when I go undercover as Fareed. Why? What's the reason for that? Where are you traveling on boat, by the way? Just doing a cell mission right here. Fareed had to keep undercover. Complete all the Strike Force missions as well, Pro, so that the Chinese Air Force will show up to save the USS Obama. Okay. No, I didn't make any food before the stream. My favorite vegetable? My favorite vegetable, it's a hard one. Either onions or tomatoes. No, I didn't, Drifter Kids. What's in it? I think tomatoes are a fruit? No, I think tomatoes are vegetables. No. Pretty sure tomatoes are vegetables. I can't eat a sandwich without tomatoes, personally. Like, when I'm eating a sandwich, I have to have a tomato on it. Do you think Walter White was always a bad person? I think that Walter White basically went on this big power trip. I think that's what happened to him. I think he got so powerful it basically went to his head, and he thought he could do whatever he wanted. I'll do the Strike Force missions, yes, Shiny Knight. Also, the Chinese general in the Chinese general in Black Ops 2, the guy, I know he's also in the flashback mission. He helps you in Afghanistan. Should I kill him in my playthrough of Black Ops 2 if I want the good ending? Because I know there's so many choices in Black Ops 2, but I want to get like the best one. The Chinese general, like I should kill him in Black Ops 2, right? Because I remember there's like a mission where his helicopter crashes and then you shoot him. I think that's the I think that was the story. But he has to die for the good ending, right? And also, guys, I'm gonna be doing Black Ops 7 after, but we have to finish Black Ops 2 before Black Ops 7 comes out. But here's what I'll say about that. I know some people are gonna say, you know, why Black Ops 7? Black Ops 7, the multiplayer looks awful. Like, it just looks terrible. But I'm buying Black Ops 7 primarily for the campaign, because it's David Mason you're playing as, and it's gonna be, like, finishing up his story, and I want to see how his story, ends. So that's what I'll be, I wanted to, you know, Black Ops 2, and then we'll do Black Ops 7 right after that. So I buy the Call of Duty games mainly for the stories now. That's what I get them for, is the stories. And I was really pissed in 2023. Like when I played Modern Warfare 3, I was so pissed. Like I was so mad. That was like one of the worst stories I've ever played was the Modern Warfare 3, the 2023 campaign. It was such a terrible written story. And I loved Modern Warfare 2019 so much, and I loved Modern Warfare 2, the 2022 one. Like I love both of them. I loved the story, the fight against Al-Qatala in like the first game, and then I liked the cartel storyline. I liked it in the second game. And then the third game, they did Walmart Makarov, and it was just so stupid. Walmart Makarov. That's basically what I called him. It was just so terribly written. Yeah, I know Kratos' voice actor roasted them. Walmart Makarov, that's what he was, because he was such an idiot. The thing is Al-Qatala based on Al-Qaeda? Yes. But the thing is about Makarov in Modern Warfare 3 in the reboot. The reason that Makarov sucked so much in the reboot was because he was stupid. Makarov was killing people just for the sake of killing people. That's what he was doing in Modern Warfare 3. It made no sense. Like, when Makarov did that stupid attack on the stadium, like, remember when he attacked the stadium? That whole attack had no purpose to it. There was no point to it. Like, he had nothing to gain from it. It was just like, he just wanted to kill people for no reason. That was, like, the whole backstory behind that attack. It was so stupid. And then he text messages Nolan. I remember he text messages Nolan when, like, Makarov would never be that stupid. Makarov would never be, like, in the originals, he would never be that stupid that he would text somebody. Like, Makarov would be using, like, walkie-talkies, and he would be talking on like a local network. He would not be texting somebody his plans. It's so stupid. Like Makarov was a very intelligent man in the originals. But whenever Makarov did something bad in the originals, like when he did the airport massacre, that was basically to get the Russian government pissed off at the U.S. When he kidnapped the Russian president, it was basically to get their nuclear weapons. I'm trying to think. Whenever he did something bad in general, it was to serve some kind of purpose, some type of ultimate purpose in the end. But when he was in Modern Warfare 3, he was just the new one. He was just killing people because he wanted to kill people. Like, it was stupid. It made no sense. Makarov went full anarchist instead of nationalist in Modern Warfare 3 2023. Yeah, and you know what else I will say about Makarov? You guys remember that stupid, like, banker woman in Modern Warfare 3? Like, she was that oligarch that was, like, basically funding, like, Makarov's, operations. Like, she was, like, such a poorly written character. Like, I even forgot what her name was because she was such a forgettable character. But it was so stupid that, that scene where you confront her, you go into her house, and then all of a sudden, like, Ghost gets this laptop out, and he's like, oh, we can hack your money like this. And the thing is, somebody like her, like a Russian billionaire like her, would not have all of her money in just one place. They would have so many different accounts and just so many hidden accounts that would just not work. That story was written badly. Yeah, and what the hell happened to Al-Assad? Like, I remember in Modern Warfare 2019, they hyped up Al-Assad to be like this big guy. I remember that. That Al-Assad was going to come back. But Al-Assad, you only see him in the Spec Ops missions, but he doesn't actually come back. And I was really hoping we'd see Al-Assad again, but we didn't see Al-Assad. It was and honestly, what was his name? Hadir? Hadir, that was his name. About Hadir is, they should have made Hadir Al-Assad. Like, if Hadir was Al-Assad, that story would have been just so much better. I remember that, like, there was all these videos that were, like, going around in 2019 where they were saying that Hadir is Al-Assad. People were saying that. And that was actually pretty cool. Like, the whole theory about that was actually pretty cool. And I don't know why they didn't go with that. Like, I think Hadir would have been the perfect Al-Assad. Like, they should have made Hadir Al-Assad. But they didn't go with that. Instead, they killed off Hadir in like a co-op mission that was a DLC, like, in an update. Like, I didn't like that. So no, it was stupid. Thank you, Nikki. What happened to Khaled Al-Assad? Yeah, that's what I was going for, Samuel, is that, Al-Assad just vanished. Why do you think Tony killed so that he had to leave? I think it's Giorgio Forelli. No, I don't, I mean, maybe it's Giorgio Forelli, That is a possibility. I mean, you've got a point there. But I think it was probably some Sindako guy. That's probably who he had, probably some Sindako guy that he had killed. Thank you, Sanjay, for the super chat also. Thanks, dude. Why was Woods betrayed after killing Kravchenko? Because the Mujahideen hate the U.S., and they were working for Menendez. When we do the Black Ops 2 playthrough, guys, I'm gonna talk a lot of history during the Black Ops 2 playthrough. So I'll talk about, like, the Angola War. I'll talk about the history of that, what was going on. I'll talk about who Savimbi was, because Savimbi was a real person, by the way. I'll talk about the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. I'll also talk about Noriega. I'll talk about that, too. I'm a Maria Latorre defender all day. Wait, what do you mean, me, Candy? Thank you for the super chat. Thanks, dude. Would I be able to help you sell 6 businesses? I'm helping Troy next. Troy needs help. Brandon, how many more businesses are we selling here? Maybe I'll do a video on the Black Ops 2 zombie. Her name was Melina Romanova. Soap could have hacked in and stole all her money. Also, Barkov died, but his gas program was active in Modern Warfare 3. Yeah, that I remember that, Nikki. Thank you for the super chat. Yes, and Savimbi is a freedom fighter. And you guys want to know the really sad thing about Savimbi? Savimbi never gave up fighting for his country. He never gave up fighting for Angola. He actually died in 2002 in a shootout with the Angolan government. So he was still fighting against the Angolan government up until 2002. So that was it. So, like, you see him in the in the 80s in Black Ops 2, but he was still fighting, 20 years after that. But I'll talk a bit about Savimbi during the playthrough. But he was a freedom fighter that he fought for his country. He fought for his country to be free of communism, and in the end, it didn't work out, unfortunately, for him. What amount is very good to make in GTA Solo? If you make $1 million a day in GTA Solo, that's really good. Can you play Freedom Fighters in the future? Oh yeah, I love that game. I could definitely play that. Is Teddy Roosevelt and Franklin D. Roosevelt related? Yes, they are. I think that I don't remember their relation exactly. They're not really closely related. I think that isn't FDR his nephew, Teddy's nephew, or his distant cousin? That's what it might be. They're 5th cousins. Okay. Helicopter is bugged. Just jump out of it over the water. Just jump out of it over the water. It's fine. It's 14 out of 15 drops. It's Brandon's made plenty of money. The bonus will make up the difference. Al-Assad is Imran Zakhaev's right-hand man. Well, not entirely. Makarov was more his right-hand man. Al-Assad was basically like an ally of the Russian ultranationalists, where they wanted to basically distract the U.S. from intervening in the Russian Civil War. So they basically propped up Al-Assad's government and coup in the Middle East, and so that it would distract the U.S. Can you look at my comment patch? Sure, Melon. Let me look. Thank you, Walkie, Slosh for the super chat. Thank you, dude, also. And Melon said, hey, Pat, I found the rocket you were talking about with the IFV. It's called Lock-Guided Missile. It requires lock-on before launch with the track dart or laser designator. It flies faster and further. Yeah, and does, you guys know what I'm talking about in Battlefield 6, where the IFV can instantly blow you up when you're in the helicopter? I don't like that. I don't know what that weapon is, but I don't like it. Pro help, next person. I got help. Okay, Troy. When Task Force 141 raided the gas site in Modern Warfare 3 2023, how was it under Barkov's name? I don't know. Maybe family, because Barkov was a rich man. So I don't know. Maybe it was his family. Milena kills Captain Price for golf club. Yeah, that'll be the story for the next the next game, and you get revenge. You have Steam? I do. Can you help me sell next? When we finish Brandon's sales, who's in the helicopter right now? Hang on, who's flying it? No. Just jump out of the helicopter, blow it up. Just blow up the helicopter. Just jump out of it over water. That'll instantly destroy it. And it's glitched, so the last drop isn't going to be working. Pro, how can you say Black Ops 7 multiplayer looks awful when it's the first one in 6 years about skill-based matchmaking and no wacky operators? Because they're going back to this futuristic, fast-paced stuff. I just didn't like it. I like the, I like Modern Warfare, stuff like that. Like, the Modern Warfare 1, 2019, and 2022. That's it. I'm just not a fan of what it is right now. Isn't Afghanistan one of the main reasons the Soviet Union collapsed? Yes, it is. Thank you, Demigod. I can't believe the age verified to go to certain websites in Britain. I have to use a VPN. I know, Warwick, it's stupid. Makarov worked under Barkov in the new Modern Warfare story. That I didn't know, Melon. Yeah, that I didn't know. Random mention. Andre Nolan, an Australian man in a Russian ultranationalist PMC. Yeah, and that's another one of my points that that was in my review. Did you watch my review of Modern Warfare 3, by the way, Cube? I made a review of it a couple years ago, where I was actually ranting about this, but that's what makes no sense. Yeah, and the thing is, about Nolan is an Australian man, and he's in Makarov's, ultra-nationalist group. How does that make any sense? And the thing is, Nolan, I have to look more into it, but it just doesn't make sense, because an ultra-nationalist group, it's going to be all Russians that are going to be in it. Ultra-nationalists hate people that aren't, from their group. So I just think it's weird that Makarov's second in command is an Australian man. It just doesn't make sense. What do you think of the U.S. considering restarting nuclear testing after a 33-year gap? It's stupid. No, you shouldn't do that. No. That's really yeah. No one should be doing that. Thank you, Alvinor, for the super chat. Nikolai F. Who minion, Dave? But I will tell you guys, do you know what the worst plot twist in Modern Warfare 3 was? The worst plot point, I should say. The stupidest thing in the story, the dumbest thing that was written in it. Hang on, Are you gonna dump this helicopter? Just dump it over the water. Just end it here. Guys, the stupidest thing in the storyline in Modern Warfare 3 wasn't even the General Shepard storyline. The stupidest thing was, remember, what's his name? Damn, I'm losing my track of thought right now here. Graves. That's his name. You guys remember in Modern Warfare 2, Graves massacred an entire town in Mexico. Like, Graves he killed like at least 100 civilians in that town in Mexico. Like, he literally took over a town in Mexico, killed hundreds of civilians, and not only that, he also detained Mexican government officials, Mexican special forces. Like, he arrested them and killed them and threw them in prison and took over their prison in Mexico, in a sovereign country. So, like, an American PMC, an American mercenary group, went into a town in Mexico and just massacred an entire town and detained and arrested, like, Mexican special forces and put them in a prison. If something like that would have happened in real life, that would be like an international incident. It would be more than an international incident. It might even cause a war. Like, something like that. Like, that would be everywhere on TV, everywhere in the news. If American mercenaries killed, massacred a town in Mexico. Everywhere. And not only that, he also tried to kill Soap and Ghost. He tried to kill them both. And then, in Modern Warfare 3, they just bring Graves back out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you're supposed to be friends now. Like, you're supposed to be working together now, which makes no sense. It's so stupid. Like, it's just so dumb. Like, literally, he killed, like, hundreds of civilians, like, just mass murdered the entire town, and then you just bring the guy back. It's like, oh, no, we're friends again. We're all working together again. It's stupid. Like, honestly, I will say this. If we had the old Captain Price, like the old Captain Price from the old games, he would have killed Graves the second he saw him, like, again. Like, that was just, that was just stupid. That was such a badly written storyline. And the thing is, when Graves was going to testify in front of the U.S. Congress, Graves was testifying about the missiles that were stolen. He wasn't testifying about the massacre that happened in Mexico. I like how they completely forgot about that. It was stupid. There's issues with money and sending messages, Patrick. Oh, what's going on, Animal Skins? Thank you for the super chat. The psychic I talked to replied. He told me to avoid someone whose name starts with C. That professor's last name starts with C. What do you think? It could just be a coincidence, Suspect 13, but did you report that professor like I told you to? I hope that everything, is fine for you, but I would not trust into that psychic stuff too much. You know, I would not trust into that psychic stuff too much. I remember I read a story like a year ago about a psychic where the psychic had told this woman that she was gonna have a baby girl, and she had a boy instead. And then what happened was and then people were basically making fun of it and just saying like, oh, why did this happen and stuff like that, and just laughing about it. But that's it. I wouldn't work. I would not go into these psychics too much. I don't know if I believe in that stuff too. Graves a hired mercenary. Big blame is Shepard. Yeah. JD never had the makings of varsity athlete. Only he didn't. Thank you, somebody 32. And thank you, Nikki. Graves a hired mercenary. Big blame is Shepard. I guess, but at the end of the day, it's Graves who still did that, and they forgot all about it. I passed it. Vertigo had a question, but his messages are being deleted by YouTube. I'm not deleting any messages. Vertigo, are you here? Can you post your message again, please? Your comment. Cool bike, man. Thank you. What's the worst Call of Duty in your opinion? It might be Vanguard. Vanguard might be the worst one. I'll see you, Jimmer. Take care, dude. Would I rather be a correctional officer in a Russian gulag or go back to retail? Back to retail? That's a weird question to ask me. Have I ever watched One Piece? I used to watch the 1990s cartoons, like when the anime, like when in the 90s when One Piece first launched. I did watch it then. Can I watch the Stalker videos this month? Wait, what Stalker videos? Well, Dragon Ball. I watched Dragon Ball a little bit when I was a kid, but I just never got back into it. He's talking about the Chernobyl videos. Oh, okay. Yeah, we could. Who is Roberta based on in Black Lagoon? Well, Roberta isn't really based on anyone, but she is based, her group, FARC, is a real-life group. It's a, communist, like, rebels that were in the jungles of Colombia. Do you watch Pokemon? I watched a little bit of it when I was a kid. I do remember the characters Brock, Ash, Pikachu, Team Rocket. Ever watch Tom and Jerry? Yeah. Have I done a lore video for Crash and San Andreas? No, I haven't. I've mentioned Crash before, like my Big Smoke lore videos, but like a video directly on Crash, no. That is on my list to do. Thank you, Mr. Jesus and Somebody32. Which of the two evil characters do you think is the worst, Dimitri or Tino? I don't remember if Tino had plans to betray Don Teresi. Who's worse, Dimitri or Tino? I don't know, honestly. They're both just despicable. You have to remember that Tino was gonna force Isabella to have an abortion, which that would have been just, extremely evil. So it's yeah, I don't know, honestly, who I hate more in those situations. At least Tino is loyal to Teresi, as messed up as it is. I'll say that, where Dimitri isn't loyal to anyone. Probably not this weekend. But Melons also really wants to play Uno, No Mercy, or as I call it, Uno, I Lost My Mind, because it's too chaotic. Yeah, we can, we can do another one of those streams playing Uno or Monopoly. Explain the Panda Express cult seminar video. There was this creepy, thing with the Panda Express where it was telling its employees to strip during a training, seminar. Is creepy, disgusting. It happened a number of years ago and resulted in a bunch of lawsuits. Yeah, I heard a little bit about that update on YouTube. Sailor Moon? No, I don't think I've watched that one. In one of those, what's more stupid, in Season 3 of Modern Warfare 3, they introduced 2 new operators, Coney, who were not even Russian, Banshee, and Hush. Oh man, that's... I don't know, like, what they were thinking when they were writing that story. Thank you, Nikki. But I will tell you guys, as bad as that story was in Modern Warfare 3, I at least am looking forward to Modern Warfare 4 coming out next year, because Modern Warfare 4, from all the leaks, they're saying that there's going to be DMZ. DMZ is coming back, and I really want DMZ back, because I like DMZ so much, and I really hope it comes back, so I guess we'll see. Oh, $50 donation, thank you, Final Lullaby. Thanks, dude. Thanks, man. To add to that, I did not expect such a roller coaster at the end of The Old Country. Tino is utterly brutal. But Bernardo, good grief. Much love, Pro. Thanks for making our days better. Thank you, Final Lullaby. Thanks for the super chat, man. Thank you. Thank you, man. $50 donation there from Final Lullaby. I think Mafia the Old Country story is my favorite story in the series. I think it is. Well, the thing about a consigliere is a consigliere is meant to challenge the Don on stupid decisions and guide him, but Don Teresi had the devil as his consigliere. Favorite Fallout faction? The Free States in Fallout 76. Brazilian consiglieres are different than American consiglieres, maybe, but Lily Tino was the worst consigliere in the series. Leo Galante was the best consigliere in the entire series. Can you post it again, Vertigo? Thank you, Mach 2 Hybrid Media. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thanks, dude. What do I think about Chuck Green? Oh, you mean in, Dead Rising. I gotta do a playthrough of Dead Rising also. Yeah. You upload the GTA video while streaming? I uploaded a couple minutes before I started streaming. Thoughts on Cazadors from New Vegas? They're terrifying. I hate them. Well, I rewatched, I watched Akame ga Kill. I told you it's an assassin group attempting to overthrow their government. I'll add that to my, watch list. I haven't watched an anime in some time, and so I could add that to my list. Did centaurs scare you when you were younger? Not really, no. The thing, you know what scared me in, like, Fallout 3 or creeped me out? What creeped me out in Fallout 3 was the vaults. Some of the vaults were just really creepy. There was that one vault in Fallout 3. Was it, 106? I think it was. The one with the gas that makes you hallucinate. That vault always, you know, creeped me out. Yeah, I'll play the Warriors, but I gotta watch the, movie first. Weird that Marcano had no consigliere. I think that Olivia was his consigliere. I think she was. She seemed more like the consigliere type. She's a capo, I know, but I'm saying is she kind of filled the role of like a consigliere in a way. Have I ever played a WWE game? Yeah, the PS2 games I played when I was a kid. Okay, Skull, that's fine. Just got into Ace Attorney 1 to 3. Dear gosh, or so-called witnesses changing statements. If this America, you would think they're a judge, jury or judge, or think they are discredited. Yeah, but here's the thing, Cube. And did you watch my other Ace Attorney playthroughs? I think you did, right? I never played the original Ace Attorney series on the channel, but I did do all the other games. But here's the thing. The Ace Attorney is a weird setting because it's supposed to be America, where Ace Attorney takes place, but it's kind of like Japan and America put together in like a single country. So that's what's a little weird about Ace Attorney. So it is the United States. They do say it's America in the text, but it's supposed to be like America and Japan put together in one country. But anyways, the thing about Ace Attorney is Ace Attorney isn't just a fictional video game series. Ace Attorney is actually a parody of the Japanese legal system. That's what it is. A lot of people don't know that. It was like a criticism of the Japanese legal system. And because the legal system in Japan is very broken. It's a very, very broken and unbalanced system. It is. And I will say here, the American legal system is not perfect. It isn't. But it is miles better than the Japanese system. Miles better. Way better. In Japan, you do not want to get accused of a crime in Japan. It's much better to be accused of a crime in America than it is in Japan. And the reason that it's so bad in Japan is because in Japan, if you are accused of a crime, you are already in prison. You just don't know it yet. You're already done. You're going to prison. That's it. So that's the thing about Japan, is that in Japan there's a 99% conviction rate. It is 99%. And that is really, really, really bad. So I know some people might think, oh, 99% conviction rate, that's good. But you're not factoring in all the people who have been falsely convicted, all the people who have been falsely accused. So anybody who is basically, accused in Japan of a crime, they're going to be, thrown in prison. And in Ace Attorney, in the original Ace Attorney games, there's this one case, there's this one murder case. Does anybody remember which case it is? I forget which case it is, but basically the statute of limitations on the murder are going to expire, and it was like 15 years to prosecute the person, 15 years or something like that. And there's like 1 day before the statute of limitations expire, and then you manage to prove that the person did it. I forget which case it was, but it was like a statute of limitations running out on murder. And what statute of limitations basically is that if the government does not try you in that specific timeline, then they can never try you for that crime again. So let's say that you get accused of theft or something like that, and the government does not prosecute that crime for let's say 10 years or whatever the statute of limitation is for it. They can't prosecute you even if they know you did it at that point. So 10 years later they can't. And in America there is no statutes of limitation for murder. So if you commit a murder and then 80 years from now you're still alive and you're an old man that's about to die, they can still try you for that. So in America, there is no statute of limitations for murder. So that's why a lot of times they'll find people who have committed murders in the 1960s, and when they're old today, and they'll try them. That's also why you had you had concentration camp guards, for example, that were tried for their murders they did during World War II. In in modern day today, there's still some guys that were found. A couple of years ago, there's a concentration camp guard that was found, and he was put on trial. That happened in Europe, I think, but most countries, they don't have a statute of limitations for murder. So it does not matter, if you're tried now or 70 years from now, the government will never stop pursuing you for those charges. However, though, in Japan it's something else. In Japan there was statute of limitations for murder. There was at one point. I think it was 15 years. I think that's what it was. Was it 15 years? And what Ace Attorney was making fun of is they were making fun of that specifically, that in Japan there was no statute of limitations for murder, and then they actually changed it. So they changed it so now there's no more statute of limitations for murder, but there was in Japan in the past, which was ridiculous.
What's up, pal?
Turnabout goodbyes. Edgeworth was the client. Yes. So and who it was Von Karma, right? That was the guy. It was the murder was 15 years ago. It was Von Karma. It was Edgeworth's father. Right. Yeah. That's what I remember now. Thank you, MZG. Did you know Laszlo from Fame or Shame has bad criminal record from stalking, forcible touching, a lot of weird things, and Laszlo is indeed an asshole, and hope you're good, pro. Thank you, MZG. Yeah, I think Laszlo is one of the most hated characters in GTA 5. Yeah, people really hated Laszlo. He was such a creep. I think that scene where Michael, beats him up at the end of the game, I think is the most satisfying one. Which character from The Sopranos does Joe Barbaro remind you of?
Okay, my friend. I'll take care of the LSPD. Leave it to me.
Joe? Probably Salvatore Bonsanpiero. Probably him, yeah. Cause how goofy Salvatore is, I think that's kind of like Joe. Joe's pretty goofy at times too. Can you talk about the Y2K commercial in GTA Liberty City Stories? What radio station is it on, David? Thank you, Final Lullaby, for the super chat. Yeah, my character is high right now. It's the, weed truck mission. That's what this is right now. You should play Danganronpa. It's a murder mystery just like Ace Attorney. Yeah, I could play those. Can you make mistakes in that game? Is it like Ace Attorney where you can fail and make mistakes and choose the wrong person? Thoughts on crypto? I don't touch it. When are you gonna play Metal Gear Solid 3? I did though, Snake. I played Delta, which is the remake of it. So I kind of already did it. Do I know the chronological order of the Metal Gear Solid series? Metal Gear Solid 3, Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops, Metal Gear Solid 5, correct me if I'm wrong, Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, and then 4. You remember what Y2K was? Wasn't that when people were saying that the world was going to end in the year 2000? I didn't, Mr. Nobody. I didn't watch it. In Ace Attorney, it's not innocent until proven guilty, or guilty until proven innocent. It's guilty until proving someone else is guilty. That's a great way. That's a great way of putting it. You know the you know what I think was the most unrealistic part of the most unrealistic scene in Ace Attorney. Ace Attorney has a lot of really unrealistic scenes, but I would say probably the most unrealistic scene that I can think of in the original games is there's that scene in Edgeworth's case. It's the fourth case in the game, the fourth case in the first game, and it's the part where Edgeworth is accused of shooting the guy in the boat, and he doesn't do it, and then you prove that it wasn't Edgeworth who fired the gun. And when you prove that Edgeworth wasn't the one who fired the gun, the judge says, you've proven that Edgeworth has not fired the gun. Like, you've proven that Edgeworth is not the killer. But if Edgeworth is not the killer, who is? That's what the judge says. And that's really unrealistic because the trial would have been over at that point. It's, the court is not there to prove who did it. It's that once you basically prove that the client didn't do it, the guy didn't do it, it's over. It's up to the courts to find, a new trial and figure out who did it exactly. But that was, I remember that part. The judge was like, if Edgeworth didn't do it, then who did? We already proved that Edgeworth didn't do it, so you don't drag it out now more. When are you going to play Dispatch? How long is Dispatch? I did see it on the PlayStation Store. Why does Claude never speak? We never know. You don't like the remake, Snake? Well, I'm not gonna play the third one anytime soon because I just played the remake. But I can play the other Metal Gear Solid games in the future. Metal Gear Solid 4, Portable Ops, 5, all of them. Have I played Heavy Rain? Yes, I have a Platinum Trophy for Heavy Rain 2. I played it when I was a kid. I remember that game. Thank you, Samuel, for the super chat. That was the final Brandon sale. Who needs help? Whoever needs help, invite me and I will help you now. Why did Hitler invade the Soviet Union? Because he was an idiot who thought that he could successfully conquer it. He was trying to get the Soviet Union's gas that was located in Azerbaijan, but he didn't get to Baku. Stalingrad failed. See you, Pat. Have a good one. I'll see you, Raymond. Take care, dude. Take care, man. Yeah, I know the cigarette cards, but I didn't read all of them. Clemente having a brother in Havana, and Louis Romero, who's in the West Coast. Huh. I don't know how true this is, but original Saints Row creator was asked to pitch a series prequel set in the 1970s, which could go back to its roots. Yeah, that was before they did Saints Row 2. Before they did Saints Row 2, that was the plan, Skull. But I will say that it's kind of good that they didn't do the 70s, game, because it wouldn't really have made sense, because you would take over the entire city and then what, for it just to be gone again? Like, I don't think it would really have made sense. They should have just made Saints Row 3, actually following Saints Row 2, not this third stuff. I have seen the Fallout 4 anniversary trailer. I still don't know what the difference is between Fallout 3, Fallout 4, the PS5 version, and the anniversary one. I don't know what the difference is. Do you think Japan could have conquered the Pacific if they didn't attack Pearl Harbor? Here's the thing about Japan. China was not a campaign that they were going to fully win in. Japan does not have the resources to take over all of China. They didn't. And so, China was not going to give up. They were going to keep fighting. China didn't have the resources to invade Japan, so they couldn't invade Japan if they wanted to. But Japan would not have had eventually enough resources to conquer all of China. Speaking of which, there actually is a game coming out. I have to look up the name of it. Maybe somebody here in the comments will know. I remember I saw it like a couple months back, but there's a new World War II game coming out. It's a first-person shooter, and the graphics actually look really good in it. But this game, you actually play as a freedom fighter in China during Japan's occupation. So like when Japan is occupying China, I think it's in Shanghai, and it's like a stealth game. And so like you're rigging bombs against Japanese cars, like stealth killing Japanese soldiers in China. But I think it's a pretty interesting game. The concept, I have to look it up what the name of the game was again, but it was it sounds cool. Why don't we see Tony Cipriani's mother in Liberty City Stories? I guess it was that kind of thing that she was always talking to him through the house. He's kind of like Phil Leotardo when he was talking to Tony through the house. Soviet Union is like when you have a stupid government votes for a stupid leader. Well, the Soviet Union was one of the stupidest governments in history. Will I play Ananta when it comes out? When's it coming out? Would you also draw parallels to the Vietnam War as for the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan? Is the Soviets' version of Vietnam? In a way, yeah. It was a disaster for the Soviets. When are you going to watch Tulsa King Season 3? Next month. Next month, or maybe near the end of this month. Oh, Vietnam was definitely a disaster, but the thing is, I would argue that the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan was an even bigger disaster from the Soviets than for us, because it bankrupted them and, brought their whole country down. Vietnam did not bring us down as a country. It was a setback, it was a disaster, sure, but it didn't, bring us down as a country. It did bring down the Soviet Union. You should be a history teacher. Thank you, Shadow Narwhal. And I will say this, about the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan, it's complicated. Because looking back on that history today, we understand it was a bad idea. If we could go back and not help the Mujahideen, it probably would have been the better idea. because it was backfired. Is they ended up attacking us. The Taliban formed from the Mujahideen, so they were they were one of the Mujahideen's factions, and then after the Soviets left Afghanistan, all these other tribes were fighting each other for control, and the Taliban were the ones who ended up taking power and taking over Afghanistan. But the thing is if I was alive in the 80s, at that time, I probably would have supported the U.S. government arming them. I think most people would have in that time period. Most Americans did support it. We know that it's a bad idea. Today, we know it's a bad idea. It should have never happened. And we shouldn't have done it. But if you lived in that time period, chances are you probably would have supported the U.S. helping, the Mujahideen. And the thing about that is, the reason that the U.S. did that was because we just wanted to hurt the Soviets primarily. And we accomplished our goal. We did. We did hurt the Soviets. We hurt them really badly in Afghanistan. But you also have to understand the American perspective and, why the Americans, did that. Because think about it this way. Imagine if you lost your best friend in Vietnam, or you lost your father in Vietnam, or you lost your brother in Vietnam. Just imagine that. How would you feel if the Soviets were invading Afghanistan now? Because I would be out for blood. That's what I would be out for. Is that I would literally want to hurt the Soviets as bad as possible. And yes, the Soviets are responsible for that, for what happened in Vietnam, because the Soviets supported the Viet Cong, and the Viet Cong were a terrorist group. So the Soviets said that the U.S. was supporting a terrorist group. Yes, the U.S. was supporting the terrorist group. They were supporting the Mujahideen, but the Soviets were supporting their own terrorist group. They were supporting the Viet Cong. The Viet Cong were a terrorist group, and people will argue with me, and they'll be like, oh, the Viet Cong were freedom fighters. They fought for their, freedom against American imperialism, blah, 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 this. The Viet Cong used child soldiers, little kids, these little kids as soldiers, and they bombed their own people. They killed their own people. They massacred their own people. There were several terror attacks against their own people. They targeted civilians constantly. They did not wear uniforms a lot of times. They pretended to be regular civilians. And so the Viet Cong was a terrorist group. And if you got caught by the Viet Cong, that was a fate worse than death. If you got caught by them, they would torture you slowly until you died. It was very cruel. And the amount of Americans that died in Vietnam, like so many Americans died in Vietnam, so many Americans had lost their limbs, the suffering that they had in Vietnam to the Viet Cong, the Soviets kind of brought it on themselves. It was kind of their fault in the end. The U.S. helped the Mujahideen, because it's like I said, is that after they got so many of our soldiers killed in Vietnam with helping the Viet Cong, it was only fair that America returned the favor in Afghanistan. We know now that it was a bad idea helping them because we got attacked by them, later. But back then in the 80s, no American was thinking about that in the 80s. No American was thinking, that the Taliban, which formed the Mujahideen, that they're going to end up attacking us and we're going to have to go to this country 30 years from now. Nobody thought about that happening. Afghanistan was like such a faraway country, and at the time, the Soviets were invading them. So that's what I'll say about it. It was revenge in a way. That's ultimately what it was. And I will say this, also, I never speak a person talk so much, but he really doesn't say anything much like this guy. Well, I don't know what you mean. Why did the Soviets invade Afghanistan? Because they were trying to keep their puppet communist government in power. That's basically what is like. They had a communist government in Afghanistan, and there was a bunch of the Mujahideen and a bunch of tribes who were rebelling against them, and they were scared they were going to lose control of Afghanistan, and so they invaded it. But yeah, that's basically the backstory on the on Afghanistan and what was going on there. Well, I still want to watch the movie before I play the Warriors game. How did Pax what was it? How did Pax Armada manage to get the hands of missiles in Brooklyn? And how was the CIA lady behind Pax Armada's attack and everything? It's the CIA created Pax Armada in Battlefield 6, Nikki, because they wanted America to have an enemy, like a rival, that they could basically, the private military industrial complex could justify making more weapons and they could make more money. So they needed an enemy, basically, to demonize, and that was where Pax Armada came in. And what happened with Pax Armada is that they were hoping that they put all their enemies in one faction and it'd be easier to control them, but it actually backfired. Having all your enemies in one faction makes them stronger, not easier to control. But they ended up attacking the U.S., and that backfired on them really badly. Thank you, Nikki. Original heist has 5 heists and Felicia job has 2 players, so we can start this first and do others later. Oh, okay, Mr. Professional, we could do that, but I'm gonna help with these sales first before I do that. But what I also wanted to say about Afghanistan, and I'll talk about this too, but people don't know about this. You guys know when the U.S., for example, had occupied Afghanistan during the war was almost 20 years for the U.S., almost 20 years. The U.S. killed between 40 to 60,000 civilians. So 40,000 to 60,000 civilians is how many civilians the U.S. killed in Afghanistan, and that's horrible. But there's a difference between that and the Soviet occupation. The Soviets were in Afghanistan for only half the time in 10 years. So America, like I said, killed between 40 to 60,000 civilians in 20 years. The Soviets killed between 1 to 2 million people in 10 years, civilians. And we're talking civilians, we're not talking Mujahideen fighters, we're talking civilians. Between 1 to 2 million civilians were killed by the Soviets in Afghanistan. And it's because the Soviets were so brutal in their occupation of Afghanistan. And the reason that there were so many civilian casualties in Afghanistan during the Soviet versus the American occupation is because the U.S. was there to not, piss off the locals. They were there primarily to fight the Taliban, and for the most part, they were trying to avoid, civilian targets. Yes, accidents happened. It was, battle with drones, and, people who do stuff like that should be prosecuted, but there was no intentional campaign by the U.S. to, destroy entire villages in Afghanistan. But the Soviets, on the other hand, the Soviets had, intentional campaigns to destroy entire civilian strongholds. They were, the Soviets, for example, if there was, a couple Mujahideen fighters in a village, the Soviets would call in artillery, and they would destroy the entire village. The entire village. Everybody would die. All the, women, kids, everybody. If there was, a few Mujahideen fighters in there. The U.S. didn't do stuff like that in Afghanistan. The Soviets did. And the Soviets would send their helicopters to Heinz and to villages, and they would just rocket barrage the entire village. They would kill everybody in the village with those helicopters. Those helicopters were, the biggest killers in Afghanistan. And so people don't know that. I constantly hear people saying, people think the Soviets were the good guys in Afghanistan, when the Soviets had they killed almost 20 times more civilians than the U.S. did, and they were there in half the time that the U.S. was there. So that's what I'll say about the Soviet-Afghan war. A lot of people don't know that. They don't know how cruel and brutal the Soviets were in their occupation in Afghanistan. I honestly enjoy Pro talk about history when he covers games. Makes him a very unique YouTuber to watch. Thank you, Serpent. Thanks, dude. The Soviets dehumanized the Afghans. They did. 3rd Street Saints versus 1984 Forelli. Who wins? 3rd Street Saints. Yeah, thank you, Shadow Narwhal. 3rd Street Saints would win in the end. I don't believe the Soviets were actually doing this. They were. You can look it up. Hi, Saucer. Hey, how you doing, dude? I haven't seen you in some time. How's it going, man? Have you heard a story of Aaron Ralston? He's the guy who got his hand trapped by a boulder and cut it off himself? My god. No, I've never heard of this story before. Good, nice to hear you talk about history. Thank you, Saucer Cats. Was Farah's childhood mission an example of that brutality in Modern Warfare 2019? In a way, the Soviets did use chemical weapons in Afghanistan. They did during the Soviet invasion. The U.S. did not use chemical weapons in Afghanistan. So that was that's it. And look, you can say that you're against the war in Afghanistan. That's not the issue here. But to for example, to say that the Soviets were better occupiers than the Americans were. The Americans were much more benevolent occupiers than the Soviets were, 100 times. The Americans were 100 times better than the Soviets were. The Soviets were just so brutal. You would not want to be occupied by them. Beethoven's search video, February 21, 2008. Patrick, what are you talking about, Ethelist? What? Do I think that communism is worse than fascism? Honestly, I, I will say is I never understood this logic of trying to pick your poison. That's what I'll say about it. You know, some versions of communism are, you know, less worse than fascism, but some versions of communism can be just as bad as fascism too. Um, you know, I will, and it also it depends on which government you're talking about specifically. Like, you know, the most evil communist governments out there are like Stalin's, you know, Soviet Union, and China's Mao Zedong, like Mao Zedong's China. You know, you have like you know, Pol Pot's Cambodia. Also, you know, these guys were, you know, psychos. Has anyone in your ancestry fought in any wars? Yes. My great grandpa fought in World War II. That he fought in World War II. He fought in the Italian campaign, so he fought in that one. He was a soldier originally in Poland. He got captured by the Soviets during the Soviet invasion, and then a Polish army in the east was created, and he was sent to the he was sent as part of the Polish Western forces in the Italian campaign. The only other one of my ancestors that I know that fought in a war is my ancestors on my father's side, like hundreds of years ago, they fought in the Mongolian Wars, like hundreds of years ago on my father's side, because my father's side, like his ancestors, they come from Mongolia, like, you know, hundreds of years ago. So I know that, like, that's how they got to Poland. So, like, you know, I'm a Polish ancestry, but I do have, you know, those roots in my ancestors also, and that's from the invasion. So I know that some of my ancestors, you know, back then they were part of the Mongolian army. Like, you know, this is like hundreds of years ago. Imagine Enzo tells Terezi, "Say my name," and Terezi goes, "Caruso," and then Enzo goes, "You got right," and then throws the lantern. What? Yeah. That was, yeah. Why is Mao Zedong on Chinese currency when he killed millions of people? Because the Communist Party of China is currently in power right now. Was Stalin's USSR worse than Hitler's Germany? Um, I don't think one was really worse than the other. I think they were both, you know, kind of equally bad, but I will say that the Nazis, if the Nazis had won, they would have done worse than Stalin. They would have, because the Nazis, what they planned on doing is they planned on killing every single Slavic person in Eastern Europe. So the Nazis hated Slavs. They were gonna kill every single person in Poland, Ukraine, you know, Belarus, Russia, and they were gonna enslave the rest of the Slavs, and then the other ones they were gonna deport past the Ural Mountains. That's basically what was gonna happen. So the Nazis were gonna, you know, kill hundreds of millions of people if they had won. Thank you, Shadow Narwhal. Do you think HBO's Chernobyl is any realistic? The 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 scientist lady, she's not a real person. She was made up in the show. She was made up to show the she was based on the scientists that were, you know, helping in the Chernobyl disaster. Uh, that scene in court where he basically exposes the whole, you know, Soviet government, that didn't happen. I recently read that military air gunners, especially A-10, have considerably higher cancer rates than normal. Apparently, it is known to be a bad job career choice. Huh, I didn't know that. Maybe it's because of the difficulty breathing being so high up in the air. And all the, and I guess those pilot masks they wear also, they're breathing all that stuff in. Wait, no, Pat, the 3rd Street Saints will lose to the Spaz 12 shotguns. Don't forget St. Mark's. uh, Are there currently any active mafia families? Yeah, the Gambino family is still active in New York. They're they're not as powerful as they used to be, but they're still there. Any historical landmarks you want to visit? I don't know any right now at the moment that I want to visit. I'll do the Battlefield 1 story playthrough next November on the anniversary of World War One. Why do you think every communist state is so evil? Um, the reason that communists are such violent people is because communists basically believe in a worldwide violent revolution, and they believe in their utopia so much. They believe this, perfect utopia in their minds of, like, the working class, not being exploited by the bourgeois capitalists as in their ideologies of proletariat, as they refer to it as. And communists basically will do anything to get to power. They will lie, cheat, steal, manipulate, betray. They will do anything to get into power because they think that their ideology justifies any of that stuff. So, no matter the bad things they do to get their revolution and to create their perfect utopia, they think that any sacrifice is worth that. That's basically how Stalin fought. Stalin basically fought, I gotta kill these people so that I can, make better communism in the Soviet Union. That's basically how Stalin, in his ideology, how he thought about stuff. But that's basically it. Communists are those type of people that if you don't agree with one thing that communists are saying, they will think that you're evil. They will think that you're the enemy. If you don't agree 100% with their ideology, they will basically consider you the enemy. That is how communists think. It's actually pretty ironic that communists and fascists are actually just so similar to each other. They might be different politically in their political views, but when it comes to government, it comes to how they run their governments, how they view things. They're very, very similar. And even though they hate each other so much, it's kind of ironic how similar they are to each other. The most brutal people rise to the top of communist governments. Yes, that's true. My icon looks like a plain icon? Wait, what do you mean, Skull? Wait, no, Pat, the third three Saints will lose to the Spaz 12 shotguns. Don't forget St. Mark's. Well, St. Mark's gives me nightmares. What are your thoughts on the communist propaganda in Mafia 3? It's stupid. And you know what my dad has always told me? My dad has always told me the exact same thing. And my dad, he grew up in a communist country. And my dad has always told me the same thing. And you know what he told me always? He's always said the same thing. He said, there should be communism in America for just one day. That's what my dad has always said. He's always said the exact same line. There should be communism in America just for one day. And the reason that my dad says that is because he says that if Americans experience communism just for one day, they would never want it ever again. And that's it. It's just, you gotta think, my dad experienced that for the first few decades of his life. He experienced that system. But if people just saw it even just for one day, they would know how bad it is. Many people have risen out of poverty due to capitalism. Yeah. But, yeah, I would say capitalism has risen a lot of people out of poverty. Yeah, I'm worried about that new update also, Lewis. Ever rode a bike? Bicycles? Yeah, motorcycle once. Yeah, I did. Hey, Pro, you are like an American king with your knights? What do you mean? Prioritizing profit over human life and nature is definitely a good thing. Well, I think you're trolling by saying that, but, look, here's what I will tell you something. and this is ultimately why communism fails as a system, and why communism is so disastrous. Is that can you guys think of anything, any kind of like great invention that has come out of a communist country, like just an amazing invention, like something like amazing, like we're talking invention specifically, technology. Like, have you guys, can think of any, technological, great advancement that has come out of a communist country? Because I honestly cannot think of one. You had the Soviet Union, which was the most powerful communist country in the world, and I honestly cannot think of any technological advancement that came out of the Soviet Union. The only technological advancement that came out of the Soviet Union, the only one that I will give them credit for, is the AK-47. That is it. It is literally the AK-47, and you can make the argument, is that really a good technological advancement because it's a gun? So literally, is the only thing I'll give it to the communists, the only thing I'll give it to them, is they're good at making firearms. That's what. But that's it. That is literally it. Is the Kalashnikov firearms were some of the best guns ever made. But like, can you actually think of like a technological invention that had like actually helped people? Like think about what came out of America. Like, America made the microwave. Did the refrigerator come from America? I don't know if it did, but I wouldn't be surprised if it came from America too. Things like the microwave, toaster, refrigerator, all of this stuff came from capitalist countries. You had the washing machine. All of this stuff came from capitalist countries. You don't think of like anything that like, came out of the Sputnik? No, I'm talking about just something that helps the average person, like a technological advancement. And here's the thing, what drives technological advancement is incentive. That's what ultimately drives it, is incentive. Is that if people know, like, if you know that you're going to be a millionaire, if you know you're going to be rich, doing something, then you're going to do it. That's it. Why do people work so hard? Because they want to make money. That's why people work so hard. I have never heard about somebody working hard for the betterment of society. I have never heard about something like that. People work hard because they want money. That's why people work hard, and that's what communists don't understand, is that they think that if people do everything out of the, the goodness and kindness of their hearts, but the world does not work like that. It doesn't work like that. People do stuff because they are motivated. There is an incentive primarily. Now, yes, people do volunteer for charities, and they do charity work, but at the end of the day, the majority of people are doing stuff because they want to get paid and they want to make money. And what is the incentive in trying to create some kind of invention that will help people in a communist society? Communists would tell you, oh, it's not about money, it's not about profit, it's about helping people, it's about the betterment of society. But the betterment of society does not pay my bills, does it? So when you think about that, at the end of the day, it doesn't. So that is, people will do, communists will say people are selfish. Well, that's human nature. It is human nature that you want to make money. You want to, move up. That's basically, you want to buy a big house, you want to have a nice car, you want to have a, bank account with a lot of money. And that's what communists don't understand, is they think that people are going to do everything out of the kindness of their hearts. And this doesn't mean that like greed is good, or like, you should be greedy. But that's, communists, they just don't understand human nature, that people are motivated by incentive. They are motivated by, reward. Why do you work so hard at your job? Because you want a promotion. And what happens when you get promoted? You get more money. That's it. What's the point of working hard at your job if you don't make more money? So that's what I'll say about that, stuff like that. It's incentive that basically drives, human progress. Hello, Kobe Gold. Wait, what's Skooma? Thank you for the super chat. Have I ever watched Sons of Anarchy? No, I haven't. Final Lullaby. I know it's the biker show, but I've never watched it. Sputnik 1957. You're saying that Sputnik was not an incentive for satellite technology? Sputnik does not help the average Soviet, did it? It didn't, Alvin Noor. Sputnik was a, technological advancement. I will give that to the Soviets. It was like the first satellite in space. And they also did get the first man into space, Yuri Gagarin. I'll give them that. But when I'm talking about, like, technology, I'm talking about technology that, that helps people. Like I said, like, America. What was in America? You had the average American household in the 1960s had a refrigerator, had a microwave, had a washing machine, and what happened in the Soviet Union? People had to, dry their clothes outside. Did people have things like the microwave in the Soviet Union? Did people have things like the computer in their house? Even in the 80s, you had some people that had computers in their houses. They're expensive, but people still had them. You didn't have something like that at homes in the Soviet Union. So that's what I'll say, is that you had all these technological advancements. And I will say that at the end of the day, nobody cares. Like if you are a Soviet and you're living in that time period, nobody cares if your government sends a satellite in space. Nobody cares if your government sends a person into space if you don't have food to put on the table, and also if you're waiting at a huge line in a supermarket, from 5 o'clock in the morning, and you're gonna be rationed on all your food. So that's basically what I'll say about that, is that it's not, I cannot really think of any technological advancements that have come out of a communist country. The only thing that I can think of is the AK-47. That's the only technological advancement that I can think of. And, like, literally, is nothing else. I'll give them, the AK-47 is one of the best rifles ever made. It's a great gun. The AK is a great gun. But that's about it. That's it. It's like, that's the only thing the Soviets were good at, is making weapons. Like, nothing else. How does the AK-47 help the average person? Most people don't own one. Yeah, most people don't own one. I was just saying it was a technological advancement that they made, and a lot of people in America can buy AKs, but today, but that was one of the technological advancements I can think of making, was the AK. But they, yeah, I honestly cannot think of the Soviets making something good that actually helped people. Simple things like jeans were hot commodities in the Soviet Union's 80s. Yeah, and you know what else were Adidas sneakers? They were also... Do you know that Soviet soldiers actually wore Adidas sneakers in Afghanistan? You know that? A lot of people don't know that. And they actually scratched out the Adidas label on it because they didn't want to admit that it was Adidas. Can you make a video about the JFK assassination? I'm gonna talk about the JFK assassination in my Mafia 3 ending. I would try to do it this year, Ryan. I wouldn't say it's completely obsolete far. The AK-47 still holds up even in modern combat. No, China's Communist Party never collapsed. Why did Russia never become a democracy after the Cold War? Corruption. There's too much corruption. What do you think of communist China today? China is only as successful as it is because of capitalism. That's it. Because if they were still like a controlled economy, they would be nowhere near to the point where they are today. Equal for all people when literally no medicine or food in communist. You gotta bribe the doctor. Yeah, you're right, Cube. What's with the Mexican filter? Sorry, not played GTA 5 in 6 months. Are you talking about like the sky? Is that like a Breaking Bad joke? But, no, this is the Halloween weather. It's still a thing. What do you think about the Glock having to change their design platform? I think it's stupid. I never liked the idea of government regulating, gun ownership. I don't think it's the government's business to regulate gun ownership. I think the government should stay out of that. That is. If somebody's a law-abiding citizen, I think they should be able to purchase a gun, and I think the government should stay out of their business. That's it. It's like, the government, California going after Glock now, I think it's stupid. Soviets were good at making heavy lift aircraft, such as the AN-22, the AN-124, and the M-26 Halo. Yes, and nobody is saying that the Soviets didn't have a great military, Alvanor. But the point that I'm making is the Soviets did not make any kind of technological advancement for their people. They didn't. They spent so much money on their military, but their people didn't even have enough to eat. So that's what I'll say about it, is that the Soviets didn't, you didn't have things like toasters in Soviet homes. You didn't have stuff like that. Just an example of that. Did you have like a washing machine in like a house in the Soviet Union? No, you didn't. That's the point that I'm getting at. And also, the thing is that the communists themselves are delusional, because in the 1960s, it was Khrushchev visited America. He was the dictator of the Soviet Union at the time, And Khrushchev, I'm trying to remember who he met with. I think he met with Nixon. Was it Nixon that Khrushchev met with? And they went to an American home, and the American president was showing the Soviet leader what like an American home was like, and he showed him like, here we have the TV, the living room, the kitchen, we have the bedrooms upstairs, washing machine here, toaster here, stuff like that. And the Soviet leader thought that it was all fake. Like, he literally thought it was all fake. He's like, there's no way the average American like lives in a home like this. Like, he thought it was fake. But a lot of Americans own homes like that, a lot. But he was like fully convinced that, oh, this is not real, this is fake. It was Eisenhower. Was it Eisenhower? Okay, it was, or Kennedy. I don't remember. But I remember Khrushchev. He met with like one of the American presidents, and he was showing him an American house, and showed him that this is how Americans live. Why do people think the AK-47 copied the STG-44? Because it just came out so soon right after that. Why do you think the U.S. has more violence than other countries? I mean, it depends on what countries you're talking about specifically. It depends on what. Because, I will tell you something. Is that in America, you have the right to defend yourself. Where in other countries, you don't. You don't have that right to defend yourself. And so if you look at a country like, Great Britain, for example, Britain recently, like, it was a couple days ago, there was a tragedy that happened in Britain. It was like some maniac that was stabbing a bunch of people on a train. And I was watching this British YouTuber that was talking about it, and he said that in Britain, you can't even own pepper spray. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know you can't even own pepper spray. That's stupid. And so, like, you'll have people that will say, like, America's like a dangerous country, but, like, at least in America, you have the right to defend yourself. Like, the thing is, in America, I can drive around, like, in my state where I live, I can drive around and have a handgun in my glove compartment. And so, like, if somebody tries to, carjack me, I can defend myself. I can defend myself against that stuff. But in, like, other countries, you can't do stuff like that. You don't have that right. You don't even have the right to own a handgun in most countries. So that's what I'll say is about America. I think that self-defense is a human right, and I think it's one of the most important rights. And I think, like, people can say other countries are more safe than America, but you're also not factoring in a lot of countries have different problems. And I will say that there are problems that those countries that there are some countries that might be more peaceful than America, but they have some problems that America doesn't. So that's what I'll say at the end of the day about that. Pro, are you a Democrat or Republican? I'm neither. I consider myself more of a libertarian. Were civilians living in the Soviet Union ever happy? Maybe some civilians living in some cities, but definitely not the people in the villages. Was I ever in a situation where I had to use a handgun? No. Thank God I wasn't. I can talk about that, Roxy. I can talk about that new YouTube policy that I could talk about this week coming up. Can we get 200 likes on the stream? Thank you, Truman. Do you own any firearms, bro? Yeah, I have a bunch. I asked a question above. Who are the good guys in Fallout New Vegas? There really aren't any. There really aren't any. The NCR aren't the good guys. Mr. House isn't the good guy. Caesar's Legion isn't the good guys. There are no good guys in New Vegas. That's actually what's so good about New Vegas, that there aren't any good guys. It's all black and white. Pro, you seem like you were the student that would correct their teacher. Yeah, maybe. What was the best time period to live in America? It's a tough one. Maybe the 1990s. The Cold War was over, and America had an economic boom. Do you like the Minutemen? Yeah, they're cool. I'm not gonna get into politics, Sabatians. Okay, far. That's fine. What is your opinion on Starmer? Look, I'm not gonna get into politics. The only thing I will say about Starmer, this is the only thing I'll say about him, is he's a very unpopular leader, very, very unpopular, and it's like he wants to lose the election. It's like he wants to lose, because that digital ID thing, like, I don't know who in their right mind would pass something like that. It's like he intentionally wants to lose his next election. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I would agree, because life in the 90s was more peaceful. No more Cold War, no more nuclear testing, booming economy. Yeah. Did the Soviets make the air fryer? I don't know that. But even if the Soviets made the air fryer, the average Soviet definitely didn't have an air fryer in their home. I have an air fryer in my apartment. I ordered it from Amazon, and you couldn't get stuff like that in the Soviet Union. Can you add me on PS? Oh, well, what's your PSN? Do I watch American Dad? What's my favorite gun to shoot? I think my favorite gun to shoot was the SVT-40, probably the SVT-40. Was I ever taught gun safety? Not really. I was taught gun safety on my own. I taught myself gun safety. Like I watched videos, videos on gun safety and stuff like that. And when I went to shooting ranges, I followed all the gun safety stuff. So it's not like somebody ever trained me. I more trained myself. So like I fully understand how to hold a firearm safely. You never put your finger on the trigger and keep your finger away from that. You only point the firearm in a direction you plan on firing in, and that's its basic firearm safety. So nobody ever trained me on that. I taught myself that. What's the American Dad question? Wait, what about American Dad? Oh, do I watch American Dad? I've watched some of it in the past, but not really. I just never got into it. I never liked it that much. Did you hear the creative director for original Saints Row is pitching an idea for a prequel Saints Row game set in the 70s? Wait, now? Like they want to remake it now again? Thank you, Angelo, for the super chat. Wait, can you post your comment against Jesta? Back here. Skull, is this your final business? And is Pierston still here? Like, Pierston, are you still here? You said you needed help with the your Fleesa job, right? Rusky Vapro Soviet propaganda film showing how a horrible American capitalist system of slave to money exploited workers of Soviet citizens, but backfire citizens saw that all American standard living conditions than them. So wait, the Soviets made a propaganda movie about America, but it backfired on them because the documentary, they saw how Americans were living and they liked it. I gotta look up this documentary later. I'm really curious on this. But you know something? I actually asked my mom. My mom grew up in a communist country, and I asked my mom. I asked her, like, Mom, like, how did you know that life in America was better? Like, how did you know that the propaganda, like, in Poland wasn't, like, real? That, like, they were saying, like, America was this evil, horrible place, and that communism in Poland was good. Like, how did you know that, like, America was a better place to live? And you know what my mom told me? My mom said to me, it was the American movies. And she said that that American movies would get smuggled in and people would watch them. And it was like, the movies on, like, showing, like, New York and stuff like that. Like, when they saw big cities like New York, like, they knew that that, like, life in America was better. Just watching these general American movies. That's why North Korea wants to tightly control the movies, South Korean movies, so badly. That, like, in North Korea, the punishment is like death if you get caught with South Korean movies, because people will see what South Korean cities are like in North Korean movies, in South Korean movies in North Korea. Have I ever seen Fall of Berlin? It's not Fall of Berlin Wall, but it's Fall of Berlin. Yeah, I've seen it before. I've seen the movie. I've seen the clips of it. Yeah, there's it's that propaganda movie of Stalin. And here's the thing is, you want to know something really disturbing about that movie? In that movie, that propaganda movie, they portray Stalin as like this god in the Fall of Berlin. And there's a part in the movie where Stalin arrives in Berlin. So, like, when the Soviets take Berlin, Stalin arrives in Berlin and he's greeted by, like, all the Soviet soldiers who are just cheering and stuff like that. That did not happen. Stalin did not arrive after the Battle of Berlin. He never was there. That didn't happen. That was like a propaganda made-up scene that was in the movie. And there was actually a bunch of Soviet, World War II veterans that were really angry about that scene in that propaganda movie. And there was actually one World War II veteran that had spoke up against this, and he said that we fought in Berlin, Stalin was not there, that this is all bullshit. And you know what happened to that guy? That guy was taken away, never heard from again. So imagine that. You fight for your country. You help to defeat your country's greatest enemy, Nazi Germany. And then you complain about a movie being a propaganda movie and about your leader who was never there. What you said was a fact, that your leader was never there. It was all propaganda, and then you get kidnapped and killed by your government for that. They did that to a Soviet World War II veteran. Imagine that. That's how the Soviets treated their own veterans. That is just disgusting. Cassian, I appreciate the super chat, but you need to calm down. There have been a lot of times where you have these temper tantrums, and that's what I'll say about that. I appreciate the super chats, but you can't be cursing at people, you can't be yelling at people, because I've seen you do that a bunch of times before. That's why my moderators kicked you out of chat last time. Did the Soviet government really spy on phone calls on their citizens? Oh, of course, 100%. They spied. They didn't just spy on phone calls. They spied on their own people following them, too. Am I emulating GTA Liberty Series stories? Yes, I am. Yeah, Stalin, the Soviet Union was de-Stalinized after Stalin died. That is true. What's the emulator? The emulator I use is hang on. on. It's the emulator that I use. It is tell you what it is, PCX2 PS2 emulator. That's the one. That's my emulator. That's what it's called. Did you hear that YouTube is now age restricting mature video games? Yes. I guarantee you that when GTA 6 comes out and there's that scene where, like, you know, there's probably gonna be a scene where, like, Lucia and Jason make love, that scene is gonna be censored. It's probably gonna be age restricted. That's probably gonna happen. Skull, I'm gonna go and help, Pierston with his heist right now, because you have 5 people right now, so you'll be fine on this, this final bunker sale. I'm gonna go help Pierston with his heist right now. Yeah, but the problem, dude, is that you have had these temper tantrums for months. That's the problem. See here. Do North Koreans need to be liberated? I would never support any kind of, you know, invasion of North Korea. I would be totally against that. I don't want to do something like that. No. I think I don't want to sound like a selfish person by saying this, but I think that it's ultimately up to North Koreans. The North Koreans should be the ones that ultimately have to get rid of their dictator. Oh wait, what am I? Hang on, wait. I thought I joined the Fleesa job. Let me join this. I thought I joined the Fleesa job. Here, let me join this here. I'm confused right now because I thought I joined Fleesa job, but yeah, Mercenaries POD showed that pretty well. Cassian, there have been times where you have cursed at people, and not only that, you have also said offensive things to people before. I remember. I don't forget things like that. I remember you've done stuff like that months ago. Even months. Maybe in the future, if you calm down and apologize, you know, I can play with you, but, not right now. No.
Yes. Take us there. Word of warning, we're on the job right now.
Oh, I don't talk politics. I stay away from it.
If they come after us, we call it off. So, my taciturn friends, I suppose you want to know how we're doing this. Well, funny you should ask. We're driving out to the bank, taking a look at it, picking up some equipment, and then heading back to make our plans. Not very complex at all. We're not going in, we're not...
What about me, Pro? I mean, would you want to play with me? Yeah, we could play together, Zach.
Look, you see, I like my scores like I like my dates. Across the street and unaware they're being watched. Alright, so why this bank over all the other banks in the state? Why does fortune favor this one? Another good question. You're full of good questions. You're like a child whose parents think it's clever, or the IRS. Well, this bank's got some safety deposit boxes, and in one of those safety deposit boxes are some bonds being hidden from the tax.
Next playthrough after Liberty City Stores, we're going to be doing Black Ops 2.
Starting to make sense. Security should be light, well, relatively light. Light if your daydreams are raids on the Union Depository. quite heavy if your day job is turning over liquor stores and gas stations. And the bonds in the box will be worth more than a few rumpled notes from a till, so the minor escalation is worth it.
Oh, we got 500 people watching right now?
Plus, you know,
Oh, we almost, yeah.
nothing
There.
like staring
Thank you,
at
everybody,
someone
for,
contemplate money and power
coming by and hanging out with me on this Sunday night. Thank you, guys.
All those weighty issues surrounding your first foray into serious armed robbery. I'm assuming you're kind of a cerebral crew, because otherwise this whole not talking deal just kind of puts you on the spectrum, right?
Oh, not you, Tactical. It's not. I just don't want to talk with the drama. There's just a viewer of mine. He said some, you know, he would get into arguments with some of my other viewers, curse them out, and he said offensive things, and my moderators kicked him out of chat. And now he's trying to apologize, and I'm telling him that you know, he's still gotta be, you know, gone for some time.
Customers will probably be thinking how to turn this into a screenplay. The boxes are in the back behind a safe door. We want box number 167. Yeah, it's right on the highway with good access. That works for you. You can get out quick, but it'll also work for the cops. Speed up their response time. Okay?
Okay, here we go. Whoa, what the hell?
Let's go to the garment factory.
Hey, Pro, love the Ada Tucker lore video. Thank you, dude.
Now, when you hit the bank, you're gonna need to hack into its security system. I've written a neat little program that'll do most of the work for you, but it's probably a good idea for you to familiarize yourselves with it. You, in the passenger seat, I've sent it to your phone. Take it for a dry run, keep your hands steady, and maybe the wet run won't be a disaster.
Ah, great. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Josh King, for sponsoring my channel. Thank you, dude.
I'm calling Paige. She's my assistant. First, she's gonna get us what we need. Then she's gonna saw me in half. No? You didn't like that one? You don't make it easy. Paige, it's Lester. The place looked good. Nothing we weren't
There we go.
expecting. Can you get the intel together? Hard copies to go on a notice board. Yeah, plus all the equipment we spoke about. I'll be over to collect it with...
Killzone's 21st anniversary was today.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, yeah, you're right.
Okay, see you soon.
2005 or 2004.
Tools for the job, things for you to wear. On a job,
You should play more Western games. Give Gun and Qualivar S series a try. I should. Thank you, DHC, for the super chat.
Uniforms. If you're likely to be seen by civilians,
And thank you, Josh King. Thank you for being a member of my channel for 2 years. Thank you, dude.
With your eyes. And hey, there's the added bonus of none of your favorite comic convention outfits being linked to a major crime. Whoop-de-doo. Where were we? Ah, masks. Paige. Oh yeah, we'll go over there, pick her up, and go back to your place to plan this thing. I can talk you through the planning board later. That might be helped by a visual aid. The rest is pretty self-explanatory.
Well, the only thing I'll say
Leave my car here, take the truck.
to you there is that if you are truly sorry, then act like a normal person in chat. That's what I'll say. Is don't curse people out in chat, and don't say offensive things to people in chat. It's as simple as that. That's it. But I don't want to get into this stupid drama and these stupid arguments. But you know what you've said, Cassian, and you know what you've done before in chat. I remember it. What happened? We're not worth getting into. It's been something that's been going on for months ago. Before he said things, and then my moderators kicked him out of chat, and that was
sitting there making a perfect butt imprint in your easy wipe seat.
I'll take your word for it.
Thank you. It should all be
What are your
there.
thoughts on people
Clothes,
trophy
guns,
hunting?
Headsets, hold-offs, masks, the drill, the files with all the photos and surveillance.
It's
Hey, there's enough here to make
I
it
used to
look
trophy
real
hunt back in the day,
suspicious.
but I will
Some
say
sort of
this:
conspiracy
I
to
generally go for
waiting to
trophies.
happen.
I do in games, but if they're fun, if it's something like ridiculous where it's just annoying, I'm not gonna bother. So like if I'm playing a game And the trophies in the game that I'm playing in, that they're like fairly reasonable to get, like they're still like challenging, but they're not like impossible, I'll get them. But if the trophies are just something like insane, something ridiculous, I'm not gonna bother. Then maybe a year from now, then we can play, because that's generally how I do things. And if somebody if somebody causes drama and they apologize for it, I could play with them in a year. But that's ultimately the last thing I'll say about it, though. Yeah, I just don't tolerate stuff like that. Patrick, you passed it. Passed it. What? Hang on. Suggest I'll look right now. Suggest that you posted a bunch of comments. Can you post it, please, one more time again? Because I'm trying to find it and it keeps scrolling me up to the same comment again. My favorite drink, Nesquik strawberry. Nesquik strawberry. That's probably my favorite one.
How this is going down.
2026 at the end. But that is that is how I deal with people who are toxic. If I have somebody on my friends list that is toxic to me, and and just starts drama and just does curses me out or curses my friends out, and says stuff, then I delete them. And if they apologize, I'm willing, to give second chances, but I don't add the person back until a year. And I've always done that. There was one guy who he griefed me on a live stream, and he was pretty toxic. And what I did was I deleted the guy, and after I deleted the guy, he had messaged me, I'm sorry, I was just pissed that day, I didn't mean to grief you and all this other stuff. And I said that, I'm willing to accept your apology, but I'll add you back in a year from now. And after a year, the guy remembered, he messaged me, he's been here, it's a year, and I added the guy back. And he never, caused drama again, he never griefed again, and it worked out. But that's basically how I do things, is that, I'm willing to give people second chances, but if somebody, is toxic to me, stuff like that, generally that's what I do, is I delete them for a year. And if they're really sorry to me, if they really are, apologizing, then they'll be fine with that, and I'll add them back after a year. That's how I do things. How do you know if an apology is genuine and they won't try to do something like that again? If the apology is genuine, most of the time they don't get mad if I tell them I'm gonna add them in a year from now. If they say, okay, it's fine, I understand, you can add me back in a year, then usually the apology is genuine. But if they get like really mad and keep arguing and keep bringing it up, then at that point I know that it's not genuine. But that's me. I'm always willing to give people second chances, but that's basically been my viewpoint, is that I've had people in the past take advantage of me, where they're like toxic to me, like they'll curse me out and stuff like that, send me nasty messages, and then they think I won't delete them. And for the most part in the past, I used to tolerate it. Like somebody would be toxic to me, I wouldn't even delete them. Like I used to feel bad even deleting toxic people. But then at that point, one point I just snapped and I just said, no more of this. And that's what I would do, is that if somebody's toxic to me, if somebody causes drama, if somebody says offensive things to me, hurtful things, stuff like that, then it's like a year. You know, if they're truly sorry and they truly apologize, I am willing to add them back. But it's after a full year, and then at that point you know, if they mess up again, at that point I will never add them back. They're, you know, gone permanently, you know, deleted permanently from my friends list. Tactical, it's been going on for months. There's just been a lot of comments like that. So that's what I'll say about it, Cassian, is if you are sorry, you know, then if you truly are sorry, then you will understand. Then I will add you back after a year from now, exactly. But that's your last chance. That's basically what I'll say about that. And when I did that policy, though, is very few people have, you know, been toxic to me, because they know I'll delete them and I won't add them back for a full year. Let me see here. You should try more Western games. So yeah, 2026, fall 2026. You should try more Western games. Give Gun and Call of Juarez a try. Message by DHC Network, the Miss Super Chat. Oh, I'm sorry I didn't see your Super Chats. Yeah, I'm willing to play more of those Western games. I was kidding, Pro. Sorry, my birthday is this month. Oh, happy birthday, Sugesta. How old are you going to be? Jimmy pisses me off. He told Michael to go away and watch nasty stuff, and when he gets punished, he plays the Mom Was Right About You card. Jimmy was a spoiled, you know, annoying kid. Yeah, that's what I'll say about Jimmy. He was really annoying. Thank you, Alien, for that super chat. Hey Pro, I wanted your opinion on GTA on PC compared to PS5. I just got a PC and wanted to know if it's worth it to go from PS5 to PC. Oh wait, that's aggressive. Fixated, I'll help you after I'm finished with this finale. I'll be 30 next, almost 30 next year, so what, 29? I have a half-brother and a half-sister. I would not go to PC. I've always been a console guy, but it's whatever you want to do, David. Can you send me an invite there? The Fleece Job finale, and then I'll help with that aggressive heist too. Can you post it again, Zach? My half-brother and my half-sister are about 10 years older than me. Can you skip this cutscene, please, Pierston? Next lore video, I want to make it on Zero in GTA San Andreas. Wait, what role am I doing on this heist? Oh, I transferred my character, Flaming Eel. I'm the driller? Okay. God damn.
Okay, here we go. I'm excited for you. I've got goosebumps.
I'll be fine, Kirsten. Just go.
My stomach and a light film of sweat on my upper lip. You know where you left the car? At least I hope you do. You were drunk.
Why you never read my comments? They're invisible? No, I see your comments, Roxy. What's up?
Get the car and then move on to the bank. Driller, I'm sending you that hacking program. When you get in the car, you need to get on it and start breaking into their system. You got the wheels? All right, go to the bank. Driller, start hacking their network. You need to establish a connection before you get to the bank. Then you'll be able to trigger the door.
What's wrong, Cube?
The hacking program's cleaning up after you, so you can take as many shots as you want and they won't know they're being attacked. Once you walk through those doors, there's no turning back. Well, actually, there's no turning back right now because I've put a lot of work into this and I'll be really, really annoyed with you if you don't go through with it. You know, I'd probably refuse to speak to you for a week and then spread nasty rumors behind your back and maybe set up a Life Invader page about what a creep you are. You know, it'd be scarier if I threatened to kill you, wouldn't it? But in the age of the internet, when nothing is forgotten and humiliation is worse than death, in a way. No, it's not, is it? I should have made a death threat, or like, at least a mutilation threat, said I'd, cut off your nose, or I'd use your ass for an ashtray, or do something with your tongue. Not that you use your tongue. The next pair of mutes I try to help into a career of crime, I'll make sure I threaten. So, since we're actually doing this, I'm gonna talk you through it one last
You make this
time.
look easy. Well, thank you.
You pump-action shotguns to take in. They should look intimidating enough. You both go in. You go in hard. There are 4 security cameras in the foyer. Driver, take them out as soon as you walk in the door. Then you're on crowd control. Driller, when you're in the network, you'll be able to open the vault door on your phone. You at the back?
I love Mafia 3. It was a great game.
The drillers got into their network before making a move. How's the
Why don't you speak with your half-siblings anymore? I don't have good relations with them. Cube, are you still here? You wanted to ask me a question? When they find out about the patents on GTA 6, what do you mean, Roxy? Can you explain a little bit more? Was GTA 4 a birthday present for you? No.
Like I said, do not move on the bank until you're in their network. Wait on the driller.
Goodbye, Pro and Chat. Do you think Lincoln and his syndicate can take down a lot of gangs? Yeah, I think that, the better ending would be for Lincoln to stay as boss of the city because he can control the other lieutenants. Does who know I'm a YouTuber? Oh, my half-brother and my half-sister, no. Highly doubt they do. But I will say about my half-brother, my half-brother is a very manipulative person. Very, very manipulative. He's not a nice guy at all. And the thing about him is he's not like essentially rude from the start, but he will. Okay, God. So what I'll say about my half-brother is that he's a very manipulative person. He will basically guilt-trip you into giving him what he wants. If you guys want to know my half brother's personality, the type of person he is, I'll tell you a really short story about him. Uh, my half brother, when I was a kid, my half brother came to visit America because he lives in Poland, and about him is he got a job as a photographer. So and he made his own like book, and he told my dad that he was making a lot of money. And the thing about my half brother is, it wasn't like when he told my dad he was making a lot of money, it wasn't like a nice way. Like the way he talked about it was just basically showing off, and he was basically saying like, "Ho ha ha, I'm better than you, dad. Like I make more money than you. Stuff like that. Like you never made as much money as me." Like he was mocking my dad, like his dad. So he was mocking my dad, like saying, "Oh, I make more money than you," and stuff like that. And the thing is, how can you do something like that? Like, most parents would be proud for their kids to make more money than them, but for their kid to basically, shame them and say, "Oh, I make more money than you," and stuff like that, that's disgusting. But that's how my half brother acted. And when my half brother went to visit America, I remember we went into a shopping mall, and when we went into an electronics store in the shopping mall, this is when I was maybe like 11, 12 at the time. When we went in that shopping mall, my half brother finds like this new camera, and he keeps telling my dad. He's telling my dad, he's like, "Dad, buy me this new camera. Buy me this new camera. Like, this will help me with my photography business and stuff like that." And you know what my dad said to him? My dad said to him, "You told me that you were making more money than me. You said that you were better than me. If you're making so much more money than me, you don't need my money to buy you the camera. You can buy the camera on your own." And then you know what he does? He immediately changes like his personality, and he starts going like, "Oh, don't you love me? Don't you want to help me? I'm your son," stuff like that. "You don't care about me? You're a horrible dad," stuff like that. Just going like, that's the type of person my half brother is. So that's not what I mean when I say he guilt trips, he manipulates. That's exactly what all he would do is he would talk shit constantly, and then then when he told my dad to buy him things, when my dad wouldn't buy him stuff, he was basically trying to guilt trip my dad and telling him that he's a horrible father and doesn't love him and stuff like that. That's the type of person my half brother is. So my half brother looks kind of similar to me, but he's 10 years older, so he has more older facial features, but he's you guys would hate him if you met him. So he sounds narcissistic. He is a narcissist. I would say that he is. So that's it. I don't get along with him at all. I don't have good relations with him at all. The way I see it, I'm an only child. I don't have any brothers. Stuff like that. Because my half sister is also toxic. She also is. She's not as bad as him, but she's also pretty toxic. Bro, there might be culture differences to Poland, bro. You should mend ties with your brother. It's sad to hear this. They're tactical. I appreciate your concern, but there really isn't anything to mend ties with, because the last time that I talked to my half brother was a very, very long time ago. This is I don't even know this how long ago this would be. Man, yeah, this more than 15 years ago at this point, probably. More than that. That's the last time probably more than 15 years ago. And also, the thing is tactical. It's not really a cultural difference thing. It has nothing to do with culture or anything like that. Does he know you hate him? I doubt he knows I hate him, but he hates me, so he probably assumes I hate him too. So yeah, I don't think he thinks about me hating him, but he doesn't like me, so I don't like him. So that's basically that. Do you think if at least your half sister approached you to try and patch things up, you'd give it a chance? Uh, the, the only the only way that I would ever consider talking to my half brother or my half sister again, because I don't talk to them, but I would only talk to them both on one condition. And the only condition that I would talk to them on is if my dad wanted me to. So if my dad wanted me to mend relations and stuff like that, I would do that, but only for my dad. I would not no. That's it. So even if she reached out to me, no, I would not talk to them. So that's it. So I would only do it for my dad if he really wanted me to. But the thing is about it is that incident that I told you guys about with the camera, that only is one incident, and that's not even the worst thing he did. So there is just so many different incidents, so many different things of happening that the relationship is just not good. Fixated, can you invite me to your heist? I will help you with the heist now. But there is just basically so many things that just that happened. Also, the last time that I talked that I had any, I actually remember the last time that I talked to my half brother. The last time that I talked to my half brother was like more than 15 years ago, and I remember when I did talk to him, his birthday was coming up, and my dad wanted me to call him on his birthday and wish him a happy birthday. But what happened is I told my dad that if I call him, he's not gonna wish me a happy birthday. And my dad said, "Oh, you never know. Call him, and he'll call you on your birthday." And guess what? I called him, and I wished him a happy birthday. He said thank you, and the call wasn't long. He hung up, soon after that. Do you guys think he called me on my birthday when it was coming up afterwards to wish me a happy birthday? Think he did that? So that's what I'll say about that. And when my birthday came up and he did not call me, when he didn't call me on that day, you know what I told my dad, you see, he didn't call me. And my dad said to me, "I guess you're right. You don't need to call him anymore." That's what my dad said to me. I'll never forget it. He said, "I guess you're right. You don't need to call him anymore." So last Thursday, while doing my last Uber ride, when I went to the pickup location, I notified him that I'm here. He responded threatening messages. What? The hell? They fix sensitivity. I'll help sensitivity. I was gonna help Fixated, but if Fixated, I'll give Fixated like another minute to invite me. If he doesn't invite me another minute, I'll help you then, Sensitivity. It's a shame your siblings are like this, and you only get one family in life. Sure, but I will say this: don't feel bad for me. Don't, because I have a great family. I don't have a large family, but I have a great family. My mom and my dad are the best people that I could have asked for. So I don't need a half brother. I don't need a half sister. They're toxic to me. I don't care about them. I'm happy with my mom and dad. They've always been supportive of me, and they haven't, ever been toxic to me. So that's what I'll say. That's all I need is a good mom and dad, and that's just enough for me. But Yuritsa, what did that passenger say to you? Okay, I'm gonna help Sensitivity with his heist. Let me help Sensitivity. I know it's easier said than done, but try to forgive, Pro. I've been there before. I get you, IFB, I do, but you can only forgive somebody if somebody's apologizing to you, and they're not apologizing, so there's nothing to forgive. Uh, as an autistic person, when I get mad at my family and stuff, when stressing me out, they take my stuff and jump on me instead of meditating. Last time my sister wrestled me and bro choked me. What? Oh my god, I'm sorry, Halloween. Joester, that happened to you. Sensitivity, can you invite me again? Do you speak with your cousin in England much? No, I don't. Haven't talked to him in some time. So basically, only if your dad has a beneficial say in it would you do something about it. Sorry, but you lost me. It should just be your guys' decision at this point in time. I get it, but I can't get on board. No, I have uh do it for you, not for them. Oh, well, IFB, don't worry about it. It's not like I think about my half brother and my half sister endlessly. It's not like I think about them and I'm pissed off at them. I'm like, oh, I've forgotten all about them. I don't think about them at all, like ever. The only reason I'm talking about is people ask me people ask me about if I have any siblings, and I said I do, and I don't talk to them. And then somebody asked me like, why don't you talk to them? And I was just explaining that. So that was So I don't think about this. So don't worry about it. I appreciate your concern, IFB Cell, but I don't think about this stuff. I ignore this stuff. I don't. I could care less what they're doing with their lives. I'm pretty sure they could care less what I'm doing. Can you invite me again, Sensitivity? It's gonna help with that heist there. I think that any Call of Duty streamer that trash talks Battlefield 6, I think it will be a I don't think it will work out well for them because Battlefield 6 is probably going to be more pop. I'm curious if Battlefield 6 is going to sell more than a Call of Duty. That's what I'm curious about. Nobody needs help with the heists? If nobody needs help with the heist, then I guess,
Hello there. Goodbye.
Would I play Battlefield Hardline? Oh yeah, you bet. About Battlefield Hardline is, it's the only gangster Battlefield game. Like, Battlefield Hardline should be called Battlefield Gangsters. That's, like, what it is. Like, Battlefield Hardline is a very different, Battlefield game where it's entirely focused on gangs. It is just all just mafias, cartels, corrupt cops. It is entirely a criminal, gang storyline. And in the multiplayer, it is, police versus, robbers and cartels is what the multiplayer is. And I actually like that. As somebody who likes crime games, like I like gangster games, crime games, I actually really like Battlefield Hardline. I can understand why the Battlefield players didn't like it because they're used to war games, but I liked it that there was a change of pace, that it was a gangster game. So I liked it about it. So yeah, I could definitely do a video series on it. And not only that, we could also do a multiplayer series on it as well, because the multiplayer is heist. So like in the multiplayer, you have the teams trying to rob the banks and the cops trying to stop them. So we could do like a stream like that, and we could probably fill up like a lobby on that game too. We could probably revive the multiplayer with like a stream. The patents that Rockstar created for GTA 6 or for his other titles, such as the behavior of NPCs or animations. Read the patents in live if you want. Oh. I remember that about that, Roxy. I remember though about the patents. There was this guy in India who he patented the word PlayStation 5. He trademarked it. That was what he did. He trademarked the word PS5. So like before it was called PS5. So like we knew that the PS5 was coming out, but the PS5 wasn't like it wasn't the name of it yet. And there was like this guy, like over 5 years ago. This guy trademarked the name PlayStation 5. Like it was crazy. It was like this guy in India. He trademarked it, and then he was trying to get money from Sony. He wanted Sony to pay him money so that he would drop the trademark, because he's like, I own the name PlayStation 5. Like I own it. I trademarked it. So like nobody can take that name from me now. Even though he wasn't even selling anything, he just trademarked the name PS5, and he was trying to extort Sony. But I think that it got thrown out in court. I think that's what happened. Like he tried to take Sony to court when they needed PS5, and it got thrown out of court because like the court saw that it was stupid. It was like a dumb thing. But that was like one of the craziest things I heard. A guy like trademarked the name PS5 because of that. That was. But yeah, I did a video about this. I did a video about it like a year ago. Let me see here. Not a year ago, 5 years ago. Let me see. It was October 9, 2020. Indian man trademarks the PS5 before Sony can, causing massive delays. Millions are angry. That was the name. That was the name of the video. It was I did that. That was a crazy one. That was and the thing about that, I actually found that story kind of funny. I did. It was some guy who trademarked the name PS5. It was. How long do you think you'll still do YouTube? Oh, I'll do YouTube as long as I can. Like 20 years from now, I'll be in my 50s. 20 years from now, I'm 31 right now. So even 20 years from now, I'll do YouTube. So I'll do YouTube for as long as I can. There's no reason I would ever stop doing YouTube. I would always do YouTube. I like doing YouTube, and the thing is I make good money for my rental properties. So I don't need to do YouTube full time, but I still do YouTube full time because I enjoy it. I like playing games. It gives me enjoyment. I like playing games. I like streaming. I like talking to you guys, and it was just sitting at home doing nothing would just bore me also. So like making videos for you guys, talking about history and playing games, making guides and lore videos. It's fun, and so that I enjoy it. So I do YouTube also. I make money from YouTube, but I also do YouTube because it's something that gives me enjoyment.
Hello. Goodbye.
You look younger than 31 Pro. Well, I get a lot of people tell me that. Yeah, I guess it's a compliment. But I will say this: if you want to know my secret to staying young, my secret is I don't smoke anything. No marijuana, no cigarettes, nothing. I don't smoke anything. I don't drink any alcohol. I don't even have a beer. The only alcohol that I will have, I will admit to this, is I will have like a glass of champagne or a glass of wine like once or twice a month. Red wine specifically, and some champagne. But red wine is the only thing I'll drink. And that's it. And I don't even have soda. No soda in no soda in over a decade. So over a decade, no soda, none of that stuff. So no soda, no alcohol, no cigarettes, and that's that yes, that has prevented me from aging. People think that I'm like 20 a lot of times when they talk to me, but no, I'm 31. The funny thing is, I actually get carded at stores. So that's the really funny thing about that. When I bought wine before, I've got carded at stores. People ask me for my ID. That's I've had that happen to me. Why are you so against soda? Oh, I'm not against soda. Soda tastes great. I just don't think it's healthy for you, so I just don't drink it. But the thing that the one thing I will never give up is I will never give up fast food. So like I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't drink soda, but the one thing I can never give up is I can't give up fast food. Like burgers, I like hamburgers. So like I can never give up fast food. I can't. I like fast food, and I'm never gonna give up fast food. Fast food I always keep. But that's something I always eat. But I don't eat fast food like every day. But like maybe once or twice a month I'll have fast food. I like fast food. So that's I know that's unhealthy, but at least I don't drink soda. So that's stay away from that. Have I played Battlefield Red Sec yet? No. So you like supplement your sugar intake from somewhere else? I guess the sugar that I get is from foods that I eat. But also I will what is it? I'll have tea. So I'll have tea and I'll have sugar in the tea. So that's it. So tea I'll have. So I guess there's that. How do you budget between groceries, bills, and electronics? Well, all of my bills are on autopay. So basically, I just have everything on autopay. It automatically just pays. So I just I don't have to go through and check everything that I have to pay. But in my the apartment that I live in, it's really nice because my apartment that I live at, all the utilities are actually included with rent. And I know some people are going to say, but you're a landlord. That's true. I am a landlord. I own multiple rental properties, but I also live in a rental myself. And so I don't need to own a house. I don't need to live in a house. It's too big for me. I'm perfectly fine with living in an apartment. I'm happy with my apartment. And in my apartment, my utilities are all included. So electricity, water, gas, all of that is included in rent. And so I don't, worry about that. That's all included in the rent. The internet is also included in the rent too. So that's what's nice too. So gig speed internet too included in that, which is nice. So it was rent is a little bit more expensive than other places, but it's because of all the utilities are included. And the other thing you were asking me about, what was it? Groceries. When it comes to groceries, when I do groceries, usually I do groceries for an entire month. So like when I go to the supermarket, I will just stock up my cart, and I will buy groceries for like an entire month. That's basically it. Like I'll just buy groceries for like the entire month, and like whatever I don't eat, I freeze. That's basically what how I do things. So it's like I usually go to the grocery store once a month, and when I do go once a month, it's like a really big trip, like a lot of stuff that I buy. That's just how I usually don't do things. The reason I do like those big trips is because I just don't like making multiple trips. I don't like going multiple times to the supermarket. So if I'm gonna go there, I'm gonna go there once a month, and that's basically how I do things. You wouldn't even live in a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house or something like that. I would, maybe in the future, but right now it's not on my plans. I am helping my parents to buy a house, because my parents are retiring next year, so I'm helping them with that. So I guess, there's that. But I'm still gonna have my apartment. I paid my taxes at the NCR this month. No, and I'm not gonna pay my taxes at the NCR. The NCR suck in Fallout. Do I ever plan on getting married? Maybe. I don't know. Are you finishing Mafia 3? Yes, tomorrow, final part. I remember when my grandfather called my mom 8 years ago to reconnect, and before that, it's been like 15 years they talked. Looking at it now, he's still alive, but I'm so happy I know him. Well, that's good, Blinded Eagle.
Hello there. Bye.
9/11 was a really bad time in New York when I was a kid. That's really, really bad time. Yeah, the Metro games, I gotta play them sometimes too. I played Metro 2033 and Last Light, but I've never played, was it on Redux? I never played Redux. I don't want to get into politics, Brandon. I stay away from that stuff. It's almost time for sheep taco dinner. I haven't had dinner yet. I'm gonna have some dinner. I'm hungry. What sniper rifle would you want added in GTA Online? Do you think the Glock should be added in GTA Online? No, not for the Glock, because there's so many handguns in GTA Online. If a Glock was added to GTA Online right now, it would be useless. Like, nobody would use it if a Glock was added. The only thing, though, if they added a Glock 18, like an automatic Glock, then yeah, people would use it. But like just a semi-automatic Glock, no one's going to use that in GTA. As for sniper rifles, what sniper rifle would I like to be added? I'd like to see a powerful bolt-action rifle being added, like a bolt-action rifle that drops enemies in one shot, like a very powerful rifle. I'd like to see something like that. She sent me a recording, reporting me. Get the F out of the house, or I'm calling the cops. I wasted 20 minutes and gas going to the pickup place. What? Yaritza, I hope that you reported this person on Uber. That's horrible. I'm sorry you went through that. Ever played the Fear games? No, but they were big when I was a kid. I know them. I know those games, yeah. What's your most wanted change you want GTA 6 Online to make from GTA 5 Online? Not have this stuff. All this futuristic, crazy, high-tech stuff. I don't want this stuff. And yes, I know nuclear, submarines like this exist in real life. I'm fully aware of that. But, no criminal is gonna, have something like this. And even the cartel, when they have submarines, they don't have something like this. So that's, in GTA 6, I don't mind if they have some military vehicles in GTA 6, but I don't want this oppressor garbage. I don't want these Deluxo stuff. I don't want these underwater vehicles. If they're going to add an underwater vehicle, I'd like a small submarine like we had in GTA 5. That's at most. I don't want these crazy, military. I mean, do you guys agree with me? All this crazy military stuff. Like, I want the GTA 6 to focus strictly on crime, like gangsters, crime, specifically, like cartels, drugs, stuff like that, like heists. Like, I don't want, all this crazy, futuristic military stuff. I don't want this stuff in the game. That's what I don't want. But knowing Rockstar, this stuff is going to be added in GTA 6. All this military stuff is going to be added in GTA 6. It's going to be there. They might not do an Oppressor. Oppressor Mark II, they might not do it in GTA 6 because Rockstar have seen how much people hate it. So they might not do that. But like all the other military stuff, they're definitely going to add that. You are the truth, bro. Thank you, Suggesta. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to wrap up my stream here. I'll answer a few questions before I go, so if anybody wants to ask me anything before I go, I'll answer it here. Let's see. here. When is Monopoly streaming? Hopefully I do not work. We're gonna do it Saturday. You said you're buying your parents a house, but don't they already own a house in Queens with crazy property? No, my parents live on Long Island, and the property taxes on Long Island are ridiculous. It's Nassau County, some of the highest property taxes in the country. What I'll say about that is I'm helping my parents buy a house in Nevada so that they can retire. And Nevada, there's no state income tax, very low property taxes, and that's that. My parents were thinking of like 3 places. They were thinking Nevada, Texas or Florida, but I convinced them Nevada. I thought Nevada was the nicest one, so that was the one I helped my parents choose. Yeah, I can play Battlefield Red Sec one day, yep. Christmas songs are invading in November, yeah. I can't wait for the holidays this year. This is my favorite time of the year, is this time, like fall, like right when it starts getting colder. I hate the heat. So I'm happy with the, it's fall finally. So you send them to the desert? No, my parents are going to be living in a city in Nevada. No, dude. Let me see. I start my new job this week, pro. Okay, good luck at your job, Ryan. I hope it works out for you. What do you think about Anders Breivik in Norway? I think that the Norwegian government should have executed that guy. I think they should have put that guy to death. That guy is a psycho. Like, that guy's a mass murderer. He's a horrible, evil human being. And the thing about that is, in Norway, when somebody commits in Norway, the max penalty is, I think, like 15 years in prison, and then they could possibly be paroled. It doesn't mean that they're going to get out, but means he could be paroled. If Norway lets that guy out of prison, I'm telling you, that guy is going to do it again. He 100% will do it again. They can never let that guy out of prison. That guy is too dangerous. That guy should never be let out of prison. If he gets out of prison, he's going to hurt a bunch of people. I guarantee you that 100%. If they let him, any judge that decides to let him out of prison is going to have blood in his hands. Because that guy is a psycho. I'm telling you, he will hurt people again. I did hear about that they gave him a room with a gaming console. It's stupid. It's really stupid. For people that don't know what I'm talking about, there was this guy in Norway. It happened like 15 or 16 years ago. This crazy like neo-Nazi, and he killed a bunch of people, like kids, like children. He dressed up as a police officer, and then he just started shooting at kids. And then he also put up a bomb in front of like the Norwegian, I think, government's building. And he killed, I think, close to 100 people. This guy was like, a complete psycho, and there's talk that he possibly could get paroled. No, they can't let him out. They can't. That guy's evil. If that guy gets out, he's gonna do that again, 100%. He will do it again. There's they can't let him out of prison. He's evil. No, it was in Norway. Norway is where it happened, not Denmark. I remember when that happened when I was I remember when I was a kid that happened. I remember that. I was like a teenager in high school, and that was like all over the news when he did that attack. That guy's a psycho. Where I heard about this? Well, no, a person was just asking me in the comments what I think of that guy, and I was just saying that they can't let him out of prison because he's gonna do it again. What time do you wake up? Today I woke up at 10 a.m. Usually I wake up sometime like before midday. Usually. Like 9 a.m. is usually the earliest I wake up, like 9 a.m. Sometimes like 10, 11. Usually in the last few weeks, the latest I woke up was at 12, but that was it's usually around there. What's the worst activity in Saints Row 1? The Hitman, because the targets are so hard to find in Hitman on Saints Row 1. I usually wake up around 7 to 10 a.m. That's hard for me to do.
How are you?
Do I watch sports? Not really. Sometimes I'll watch boxing if it's like a specific fight, but that's about it. Okay, Kirsten. Why are prices in New York so high? Because taxes are so high. And also because there's so many people in an area, and so because of that, people are competing for properties. So it's a combination of things. So many people in one area, taxes being high, you know, a bunch of other stuff. A lot of bureaucracy, a lot of laws that are causing this too. No, I don't watch MMA. I never was into mixed martial arts. I never liked that, like them, you know, going on the ground, rolling around, fighting each other on the floor. I never liked that. I like boxing because boxing, they're like standing up and they're both trying to knock each other out. I always liked that more. I'm working now overnight right now. I hope everything goes good for you, Yuritsa, and stay safe out there. Thank you for the super chat.
Goodbye.
Thanks for the live stream. You're such an awesome guy. Thank you, RJ. Thanks, dude.
Bye.
Okay, guys, so I guess I'll be heading out here. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I hope that you guys enjoyed this stream, and tomorrow we will have the final part of Mafia 3, the ending, uploaded tomorrow. Thank you guys. I will see you guys on the next one. Take care, everyone, and have a wonderful